Hi guys, welcome to another fantastic episode of Real Talk with me, Andyson Ogugua. Well, I've been having some great viewers coming to view the blog every Thursday, and please, I'd like you to share the link with your friends. Let your friends know what's happening. Spread the word for me out there, and let's have fun every Thursday. And I want to thank you guys sincerely for watching. Well, today I'm going to be sharing a very interesting topic which pertains to the ladies especially, but also the guys are involved. Now, you find a lot of guys who live in Europe, America, South Africa, and other parts of the world coming to Nigeria, and they want to marry our sisters, our ladies. And of course, you find bright ladies, intelligent women who have great future. They finish varsity, or some are still in varsity, and they have a great future ahead of them, but they want to marry. And of course, it's not wrong for a woman to be married. It's the dream of every woman to get married. But now these guys, they come, and by way of hooking up maybe in a wedding or in a social gathering or maybe a party, and before you know it, you're hooked with this guy. You guys go on a date or go on a couple of dates, and the guy begins to tell you, I love you, I like you, I think you're the wife for me, I want to marry you. But hold it, he knows the container but not the content. He does not really know who you are. He does not know if you can cook, if you would make a good wife, because the traditional average Nigerian guy wants his wife to be the subservient, yes sir kind of woman. He does not know if you have those characteristics, but he just sees a nice, beautiful woman whom he can take to America and control and be his wife. He's tried so many women in Europe, and he knows the women in Europe or in America are very, very vocal and very opinionated. So they would really stand up to him. So he wants to marry a Nigerian woman who is going to control. Nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, it's the man is the head of the family. And of course, the woman, it's also subject to the man. But controlling a woman is a topic for another day. However, you find all of these guys, they come back to the country, they want to get a wife. They will tell you, oh, we've tried to get a woman there, and the women there, they are not the kind of women like you. You know, you're a Nigerian woman, you're well-trained, you're God-fearing, all nice and sweet. He sweet talks you into all of those things. But my sister, I tell you the truth, before you take his word and before you agree to marrying him, it is very important that you do your research. I am telling you, according to my friend Gordons, he says everybody wants to go to the Aso Rock, but if you're not strong enough to go to the Aso Rock, you will jam rock there. I'm telling you, before you know it, you will eat stone when you get into his house. You know, a lot of guys who live overseas, they've gone through difficult times. It's not as rosy as you think. You cannot just go overseas and make it just immediately. I know from experience. I'm telling you the truth. A lot of guys who live overseas are just barely making it. They are just above board. You know, they are just working, and some of them have 2 to 3 jobs. And most of these guys who want to come and marry our sisters back home, most of them have whites, or like they call them Oyibo wives, that side, or they have contractual marriage that they've done that side. So my sister, if you're gonna go marry a guy who comes from overseas, better do your research very well. Don't take his word hook, line and sinker. If not, hey, you'll be the one crying at the end of the day. I heard the story of a lady who a guy just came into the country and started speaking Awana Ghana, all those phonetics, and she got blown away. And at the end of the day, today they are married. He's made her pregnant. He's left her. He's in the States. And there's no chance of her joining him in the States. Why would a guy want to marry you and want to leave you in Nigeria? Have you thought about that? How can a bright, intelligent woman like you, who have gone through the rigors of university, who have suffered and tried to get a degree, and then you just let one guy from nowhere just come and play with your intelligence? Well, my sister, you need to wake up and smell the coffee. It is not as easy as you think. Going overseas is not a ticket to glory. It's not a ticket to automatic life of splendor. People overseas have the same life like you and I. They wake up every day, go out, go to their jobs, go earn a living, and then try to survive. That's how it works world over. There is no place whereby there's gold that is kept somewhere for anybody. No, no ways, especially for Africans who go overseas illegally. most of them struggle to barely make it. So my sister, let the guy tell you exactly what he's doing. Let him tell you exactly how he intends to take care of you when you move over. Now that you do have a degree, does he intend to pay or sponsor you to maybe improve your academic qualifications, or possibly do a master's or do a program that will allow you to work? Because you didn't go to school just to be subject to a man. You also want to have your own money. You also want to be independent. As a woman, you want to do things for yourself and buy things with your own money. It's very important for you to ask him this question and also these questions. And also, you also have to make it difficult for him. Don't just fall, oh, come and take me, here I am. Don't do that. If you do that, you become very cheap for the guy. And the guy will just play you around and go back to his Europe and be with his white woman or be with his wife that side. So it is very important for you to understand and for you to know what is his status that side. Does he have papers? What is he doing? Because a lot of guys who live overseas, many of them are doing some kind of terrible things. Do you want to marry a drug dealer? Well, I'm not trying to generalize, but there are many guys who live overseas who do that. Do you want to marry a fraudster? That's an unstable career. Today you have money, tomorrow you don't have. If it's a drug dealer, you know there's a possibility that he could go to jail anytime. You have to watch all of that. Do you want to be with the kids and suffer with the kids on your own while he's there in jail? It's up to you to understand. It's up to you to ask him these questions and decide. Well, also another very important thing that you must do in your list of criteria is to tell him to make sure he organizes for you to come and see him even before you accept his proposal of marriage. Yes, since he says genuinely he wants to marry you, then he must prepare to do the right things. He must be able to pay for your ticket to come and pay him a visit. And when you pay him a visit, you need to know where he's working. He needs to take you to his circle of friends, take you to his place, to places where he goes to, and you need to interview and speak to his friends. And women, they have that sixth sense whereby they can sniff things. They can know if this guy is genuine or not, if he's hiding something. You women have intuition. You see, God has blessed you with the ability to be able to know things, especially if you do things with a clarity of mind. Don't get carried away by his looks. Don't get carried away by where he's coming from. Don't be fooled by where he's coming from. Make sure you find out. If a guy is not prepared for you to come and pay him a visit before he marries you, then I don't think you have any business marrying the guy, because he lives overseas. You do not know his life. You do not know his pattern of activities. You don't know what he does. So you do not want to fall into a marriage of lies. It is better you know than you don't know, than you go and fall into a trap, because once you fall into that trap, you might be stuck forever. My sister, don't be fooled by guys who come from overseas. Not everything that glitters are gold, like the popular saying goes. Now, also, another thing that I find also strange is that a lot of ladies are beginning to lose their self-dignity, their self-worth. A guy comes and then the next thing, they open their legs. The next thing, she's pregnant. The next thing, they have to hurriedly get married. Why is that so? Why do you have to do that? Before a guy, I'm not saying don't sleep with a guy, because I mean, you're an adult, you're entitled to make your own decisions. But at the end of the day, my sister, you must remember, this guy is coming from overseas. You do not know his health status. You do not know his status. Have you done a test? Why are you having unprotected sex with a guy who promises to marry you? What if he sleeps with you and makes you pregnant and then decides tomorrow that he's not going to marry you? And of course, sometimes you make yourself even cheap by allowing the guy to even go inside of you sometimes. So ladies, watch some of these things. Don't let a guy make you pregnant first and then now he wants to rush to marry you. Make sure that everything is done on your own terms. Make sure that you have to tell him to fulfill some requirements before he marries you. I'm shocked by some of these women who just get a guy who comes from overseas and all of a sudden they are pregnant for the guy without even knowing his health status, without even knowing if he's HIV positive. Haven't you heard of that word? Why are we so carried away by a guy who lives overseas, who lives in South Africa, maybe in America, maybe in the UK? Why? Going there or living there is not a ticket for luxury for you. That guy is probably someone who walks by the train station. Is that what you're prepared for? Well, if that's what you're prepared for, it's okay. I mean, I'm not saying everything has to be 100%, but do your research. Know this guy. If the people who know him in Nigeria or the people who know him within where he stays, go and find out from them which kind of guy is this. Know about his family a bit, so that when you're making a decision, you're making an informed decision. Don't be fooled by guys who come from overseas. Most of the time, what they show you is not the reality of what it is where they come from. So make sure that you find out how he lives where he lives. Like I said, very importantly, make sure he is prepared to allow you to come pay him a visit. I mean, a visitor's visa is not that difficult. A guy who is prepared to spend money to marry you should be prepared for you to be able to pay him a visit before you even say yes. I'm telling you, these things are very important, and if you don't follow them, my sister, like my friend Gordon says, you will know the difference between 6 and half a dozen. Well, on that humorous note, that is where I'll be calling it a day on Real Talk with Andyson Ogugua. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Andyson Smith and on Instagram at I am Andy. Until we meet again, remember, let's keep the smiling, let's keep the loving, let's love on each other, for united we stand and divided we fall. Love, peace, happiness. Bye for now.